On May 10, 1945, a small group of Christians who shared a common interest in improving the quality of life in their community around 103rd Street assembled together in the home of Sister Velma Richard and organized the 103rd Street Prayer Band. By the month of July 1945, the prayer band had grown too large to meet in private homes. A special meeting was called by the band and to organize a Baptist church. The meeting was held in the home of Sister Velma Richard on Friday, July 6, 1945. It was at this meeting that the 103rd Street Baptist Church was organized and Reverend Hobson Lewis was elected pastor with the assistance of Reverend Grant Harris. The church was very successful under the pastorate of Reverend Lewis. After he delivered his first sermon, 3 members were added to the church. The church continued to grow spiritually and numerically each year. Reverend Hobson Lewis successfully pastored the 103rd Street Baptist Church for 2 years. He was called from labor to reward on July 13, 1947, thus ending the first era of the church. In 1948, a second pastor was called, Reverend Jacob Hawkins. During his brief pastorate, the church was incorporated and the parcel of land at 2056 East 103rd Street was purchased. The church continued to grow spiritually. It was during this time that Brother Willie and Sister Arminta Thornton was added to the church family. In 1949, Reverend Jacob Hawkins resigned as pastor of the 103rd Street Baptist Church, thus ending the second era of the church. From 1949 to 1950, the church was without a pastor. Reverend Stanley Cooper served as interim pastor. In 1950, Reverend Napoleon Fisher was elected pastor with a unanimous vote. Under the leadership of Pastor Fisher, the church continued to grow spiritually. The growth was so rapid that a larger building was purchased and placed on the lot at 2056 East 103rd Street to accommodate the membership. On the pastorate of Reverend Fisher, 7 brothers accepted the call to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. They were ordained and licensed. Reverend Bobby T. Newman Sr. was one of the 7. Many auxiliaries were organized and restructured under Pastor Fisher's leadership. The first weekly church bulletin was published, 2 additional building lots were secured, furnishing and pews were purchased. He continued to pastor until his death in April of 1963. After a 30-day mourning period, the church was once more faced with the challenge of selecting a pastor. Reverend Bobby T. Newman Sr. accepted the position of interim pastor. During the month of June 1963, after prayerful consideration and listening to potential candidates preach, a church business meeting was called for the purpose of electing a pastor. 11 ministers' names were submitted to the church to be voted on for the position of pastor of the 103rd Street Baptist Church. On July 31, 1963, Reverend Bobby T. Newman was elected pastor of the 103rd Street Baptist Church, thus beginning the 4th era of the church. Under his leadership, the church's debts were liquidated, and in 1967, a set of laws were written and recorded in the state capitol. The church continued to grow spiritually. On the first Sunday in December of 1971, the church relocated to 400 South Santa Fe Avenue in the city of Compton, California. Prior to the move, the church name was changed to Citizens of Zion Missionary Baptist Church. There were many changes and additions implemented at 400 Santa Fe. The organizational structure was expanded, church was remodeled, painted, and a baptismal pool was installed. The ministry of Citizens of Zion was very effective under the leadership of Pastor Bobby T. Newman. The crowds again grew so large the facility could no longer accommodate the people, thus facilitating another move to a larger edifice. On the first Sunday in December of 1983, Citizens of Zion moved from 400 South Santa Fe to 12930 North Lime Avenue in Compton, California, our current location. First Lady Sister Charmaine Newman cut the ribbon during the entrance ceremony. That was a glorious day in the life of Citizens of Zion. During the first year at this location, more than 250 souls were added to the Citizens of Zion church family. The Lord is still blessing Citizens of Zion bountifully under the aggressive leadership of Pastor Bobby Newman Jr. Pastor Bob, as he's affectionately called, was elected executive pastor in 2010. In 2012, he was installed as senior pastor. Some of the changes made by Pastor Bob include restructuring new membership department, expansion of the Sunday school department to include an alternate study class, revisions to the Sunday morning order of service, and the introduction of Members Appreciation Day. Citizens of Zion's future is bright as we continue to grow in the areas of outreach ministry, enhancement of youth programs, and in Christian education.